want to talk about this because like I find it kind of annoying and kind of funny. But like I was talking with another occultist who I'm on good terms with, and so there's this other guest who's also talking with this occultist, another occultist, and this occultist is like during the conversation like smoking weed and talking about like how they're probably going to do some mushrooms or something, and it's like you're not even supposed to talk about that stuff on TikTok anyway, but they're like smoking weed during the thing and talking about how they're going to be doing some drugs or whatever. And then I started talking about like how I'm autistic because it was like it's relevant to my spiritual practice. Like my disabilities absolutely coincide with my spiritual beliefs and inform my spiritual beliefs. Like they affect my experience of my spirituality. And I'm very open with that. And then this guy is like, oh, well, I'm autistic too, but I just don't use the label or something like that. And I'm just like, what? And like he starts acting weird about me like calling myself autistic. I'm like, I'm like diagnosed by a specialist. Like I am autistic. Because what he started with is, oh, I don't think you're actually autistic at all. Like that's like the first thing he said is like, oh, I don't think you're really autistic. Which automatic red flag for like ableism is an autistic person being told they're not autistic. Why? Because I'm articulate and know about the occult. And then he backtracks and was like, oh, well, I'm autistic too. I just don't use labels. And I'm like this guy is like high correcting me, an autistic occultist, for saying I'm autistic. And I'm just like, dude, I'm talking to the other occultist. The other occultist is also autistic. And I'm like, you're autistic too, right? And like, yeah, I am autistic. And I'm like, what do you mean, like, you're autistic, but you don't use the label? Like, what? That just sounds like ableism. Like, that just sounds like internalized ableism then. And, like, eventually this guy leaves or whatever, and me and the other person just start talking, but I'm just like, what? Like, no, I am autistic, as in I was diagnosed by a specialist. There are people who are also autistic who haven't been privileged enough to get a diagnosis yet, and I understand that. But there's a difference between that or like someone like me who is late diagnosed autistic, meaning they missed me in childhood. Like that's fairly common to be missed and other stuff. But it's like you're autistic, but you don't use the label autistic. Like that's just ableism. Then you're just an ableist. It was like, I just need to get this off my chest because that guy was fucking annoying. And it's also like saying that you're not disabled by your autism then, but like you're smoking weed and doing drugs during someone else's life. And then you're getting upset at me for saying that my autism impairs me in a way where I can't work. Like, is this so obvious either like ableism or internalized ableism? And I don't tolerate that crap. And I didn't tolerate it in the moment. And he left. And the other guy was like, it was like too harsh. He was like, no, you're good. Because like the other occultist is also autistic. But I'm pretty sick of people like that. And it's like there is a huge ableism problem in the occult. There's an ableism problem everywhere, but there's a massive ableism problem in the occult. Just like there's a racism problem, just like there's a sexism problem. And like that's going to be in a lot of different communities, right? But it's like I'm not going to tolerate that stuff just because like it's another guest. And it's like I just needed to get this off my chest because like if you don't know what you're talking about, like he very obviously did not know what he's talking about. Even if he is autistic, he clearly hasn't actually done research into it, because if he had, he would not be telling me that I'm not really autistic or whatever else. That is exclusively something that ableist people say. And you can also be like disabled yourself and ableist, but the whole, oh, I'm autistic, I just don't use the label, is like such a red flag to me. It's like, don't get upset at me just because I'm openly disabled and confident in myself and like able to express myself, and like you are just an ableist. Like that's just ridiculous. And it is a huge problem in the occult.